I'll call the May 18th Board of Public Works and Safety meeting, the City of Laporte, to order. It is 9:01. I am taking off my mask. I am 2 weeks out from being vaccinated. I have sneeze guards and basically 6 feet away from everybody. So with that, we will go to the Pledge of Allegiance. Code Enforcement Director Batchelor.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Mr. Kosher, you can hear us.
Yes, I can, very clearly, thank you.
Oh, there he is.
Do I have a motion for approval of minutes?
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
Mayor,
Aye.
real quick before you vote, since Mr. Kosher is present via Zoom, we have to do roll call vote for all of these votes. So you have to do each one individually.
So Deputy Clerk Treasurer Lehman, if you would do roll call votes, please.
Mr. Kosher,
Aye.
Ms. Romine,
Aye.
Mayor Dermody.
Aye. Thank you, Attorney Otis, for extending the meeting by 20 minutes.
We have to, I'm trying to understand, we have to do that for every single vote
Correct, because one of the members is not present in person.
based on the new,
Correct.
Mark, you owe us.
So public comment, is there, I do not have any cards for public comment here in person. Do we have any on social media?
Nothing yet, Mayor.
We will keep that open. Deputy Clerk Treasurer Lehman, claims approval.
We have civil city claims in the amount of $253,797.14.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor individually, we will go through individual roll call.
Mr. Kosher,
Aye.
Ms. Romine,
Aye.
Mayor Dermody.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0.
We have the May 14th payroll in the amount of $423,742.27.
Move to approve the payroll.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Kosher,
Aye.
Ms. Romine,
Aye.
Mayor Dermody.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0.
We have fire fitness payroll in the amount of $12,782.88. There were 36 firemen that participated.
I'll approve fire fitness payroll. Make a motion to approve.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Discussion?
That's awesome. Good job.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Kosher,
Aye.
Ms. Romine,
Aye.
Mayor Dermody.
Aye. And would like to add thank you to the firefighters for their fitness challenge.
We have sewage claim in the amount of $548,098.49. This does include monthly transfers to the sewage bond retirement and the sewage depreciation accounts, as well as a pay request number 4 to Selge Construction for the Lakeside Sewer Relocation Project.
Make a motion to approve the sewage claims.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Kosher,
Aye.
Ms. Romine,
Aye.
Mayor Dermody.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0.
And we have water claims in the amount of $157,547.61. That does include monthly transfers to the SRF bond and water depreciation.
Make a motion to approve the water claims.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? I did notice on here some legal fees regarding water. So is that for situations, I see maze management, is that for situations where people are not paying the bill or following the contract?
Yeah,
That was specific, Mayor, to an issue that we've had with Mays, and I believe part of the agreement, they reimbursed. We've had two issues with Mays turning on water without permission.
Okay, so they're not turning water on without permission, and with our smart meters that I think Tim.
No, they have twice. The first time, we filed a small claim and settled that, and then the second one, we've not resolved yet.
So this is the second time that they've been,
We believe they have, correct.
believe they have. So Tim Warner, and with our smart meters, we can actually see when people are doing that, correct, Tim?
Yes, that's correct, Mayor. What's actually happening is once someone moves out of one of their properties, the account goes into a suspended status, and they're still cleaning up and using water to clean up the apartment after that time. So I believe Mr. Otis is in the process of having them keep, once someone moves out, the water bill automatically goes back into Maze Management's name. Even if they unplug the meter or remove the meter, it stores the gallons that have gone through the meter. So it's, there's no getting around it.
And that's for basically that's theft.
Correct, that's what we alleged in the,
Okay, I just wanted to confirm that then.
civil, not criminal theft,
Correct.
right.
Civil, yes.
So will we also go after the legal fees for
Correct,
them
we
to
did
pay
in
for
the
the
first
legal
one, and
fees?
recovered that, recovered in the first one, legal fees and the time for the utility employees' time spent figuring out how much water was taken.
Wonderful.
You mentioned the smart meter, but I think it was actually one of our employees that literally happened to be driving by and watching them turn on without permission.
Tim, how big of an issue is this with rental properties?
We run into it quite a bit. I would really like to see, the landlords become responsible for the water bills, all utility bills when there's no renter or the building is being unoccupied. I think that solves our issue.
Okay, thank you.
This is the only landlord that I'm aware of that has turned it on, though, without permission. But that doesn't mean there's not others we don't know about, but
Right.
that's.
Well, we would know now, correct, Tim?
Yeah, like I said, the smart meter automatically stores that information. Once the account's inactive, we'll actually get an alert to our meter department here showing that there is a usage through the meter with an inactive account.
Okay. Well, Tim, that might be something to share with the council. The ideas of how to improve that, and obviously through the clerk treasurer, being fair and
Yep,
just.
I agree.
Great. So we do have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none.
Mr. Kosher?
Oh, aye. Sorry, I thought you were asking for more discussion.
Ms. Romine?
Aye.
Mayor Dermody?
Aye. Roll call vote passes 3-0. Clerk treasurer, Lehman, scope appendix.
Every year, we enter into a agreement with Baker Tilly for financial assistance with our annual budgets. That's what's before you now. Basically, they come and look over what we've done. They don't do our budget for us. They just review to make sure that we're capturing all the revenues that we are eligible for from the state, and help us with anything else that we would need. In past, I can tell you it was an all-day event. Paige would get here probably about 9 o'clock and sometimes not leave until 5 or 6. We are down to probably 2 to 3 hours now for them to come in and do it.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second discussion, and I would just like to say Baker Tilly is unbelievable. They do this for many communities across the state of Indiana, and very important to have outside eyes looking at what we're doing, helping us, especially even with the property tax caps, you know, what our loss is going to be. You know, we have to address pay. We understand we have to address pay for our employees and staff to compete with for-profit entities and so forth, but we need to find literally every dollar, every penny that we can in our budget, because we do not want to lose the quality of people that we have. And right now, especially right now, in the workforce environment that we're in, we have retailers paying $17 and more. We have to pay the quality people that we have here a competitive rate. So they are fantastic in helping us find every dollar. Further discussion?
Joni, are they looking at the 2021 calendar year,
Yes,
that budget?
yeah.
Okay.
Well, oh, no, actually, it'll be the 2022 budget.
Okay, that makes more sense
Yeah.
to me. I just wondered, because the engagement letter date was back in November of 2020, so I wasn't sure if they were looking at 2021 or the following year. I just
Oh,
wanted
this
to
is
be
just an
sure.
appendix to the
To the
2020,
original?
yeah.
Yeah.
Further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Kosher,
Aye.
Ms. Romine,
Aye.
Mayor Dermody.
Aye. Roll call vote passes 3-0. We'll now move to department reports. As we move back to in-person, I appreciate that, and we will begin very brief, to the point. Department reports, Jen Knoll, Human Resources.
Good morning. Just wanted to state that we're still looking for qualified applicants for our positions. We have those positions listed on cityoflaporte.com. We've made a couple of offers and people have just not shown up or not completed the screening process. So we are looking for those qualified applicants. If you're not going to follow through with the process, please don't apply because we are looking to hire immediately. So.
How many positions are we down or available?
We have 2 full-time positions, water and street department, although we did fill a full-time position yesterday. And then we've got a couple of part-time positions. One is for the civic. We're looking for, another bid laborer, potentially. We may have to contract that one out. But, everything is listed online, in addition to the park seasonal positions.
I like the potential of contracting with somebody at the bid, so it'd get our downtown continuing the good look, so we definitely need something. Discussion? Thank you. Jeff Batchelor, Code Enforcement.
Good morning. Right now, we're at a little over 1,900 violations for the year, and then the dumpsters are back out at the 2 locations.
What are the hours on that?
The one at the street department is open when street department hours are from 6 a.m. Until 2 p.m. And then the one across from Lake Street is out there Monday through Friday, at least Friday morning, and it'll be there until it goes to get dumped and it's brought right straight back during the week.
Any time, any hours during the week on that one?
Yeah, that one's 24 hours.
Discussion?
How are we doing? I had a,
Mayor, I would like I'd just like to remind the public that the dumpster at the water department is under surveillance 24 hours a day.
And we will follow through with any nefarious behavior.
Yeah, and then also, I talked to the UEA, and we did get permission to hire a person that's gonna be sitting outside there from 12 o'clock until 5 p.m., just to observe it so we can talk to the people when they come to take and try to dump stuff or not put it in there and that stuff to kind of help with it too.
Any further discussion from members?
I was just gonna ask, I had a community member ask about the tree line, the signs that are in the tree lines, especially down in Deanna. Are we kind of getting cracked down on that? 'Cause there's not supposed to be any signs in that area, correct? Okay,
Yeah, we'll get on that.
so, thank you.
And as well, any IVAC or covering houses, we're addressing that?
Yes.
Long-term on Indiana Ave? Okay, perfect. Jess Bruder, Communications.
The website project is coming along. The visitor site, liveinthelakelifeorg, is also coming along thanks to the city's new shared intern with LEAP, Taylor Drake. She finished that project yesterday, so our new visitor site should be full. The calendar should be full, so if you're looking for something fun to do in the city of Laporte this summer, you should find it there. We are also, I will present a request for use in a little bit for a couple of the fun events we've got coming up this summer. So other than that, I think we're good.
Jess, just one point, and it was brought up at the city council meeting last evening. Despite the large surf broadband signs that are at every corner of the city with a phone number for those homeowners or rental units that may have had their yard dug up, and they're concerned about that, there are numbers to call. But a good point was brought up that we can add it to the City of LaPorte website, and I'll get you that information, and we can put that up for anybody that has a complaint, concern, and who they can call.
Yep, I'll get that up this afternoon.
Thank you. Bert Cook, LEAP.
Good morning. Bert Cook, Executive Director of the Laporte Economic Advancement Partnership. Good morning to the Board of Public Works. Excited to make not only the Board of Public Works, but the city as a whole aware of an event that we have coming up June 4th. It's called the Community Engagement Series, Explore Laporte. So we have 5 locations set up across the city. If I can remember them all, the Thomas Rose Industrial Park, the new spec building that's being built there, the Banks development, the apartment in Newport Landing, Rural King, Soldiers Memorial Park, and
Beechwood Lakes.
Beechwood Lakes, correct. Thank you, Mayor. So at each location, we'll have representatives from the city as well as people on the development team ready to discuss details, answer questions, do short tours of each site. The event is open, again, to the entirety of our community, to the general public, any business leaders, community members. Wow. If you go to each location from 1 to 4 p.m. On the 4th, there will be refreshments available, but you'll get a stamp on your little card. If you turn your card in at the end of the event, we're going to be randomly drawing a card to win a 65-inch Vizio Smart TV. So we hope the community will participate in that. You know, one of the pieces of feedback we get most often is that people want to know details about projects that we have going on. We have so many projects going on as we speak. We thought this would be a good way to get that information out there and allow people the opportunity to learn a little bit more about the individual projects that are going on within our community. So if you want to participate, the event is completely free, but you do have to pre-register in order to get a card made for you. You can do that on our website, which is laportepartnership.com. It's right there on the homepage. All you need to do is click and submit your name, and we'll get you registered, and we'll look forward to seeing a big portion of our community on June 4th from 1 to 4 p.m.
Are they supposed to start in a particular order? Is
Nope.
that outlined, or?
There will be, there is information that, a map, so you know exactly where to go in each location, but you can do the route at your own pace. You can do it in any order that you like. But again, if you want to be entered into the drawing, you'll need to go to each of the 5 locations. We have enough members at each spot that as people walk up, we'll just begin doing tours or discussions right at that point. So we'll group people in small groups in order to do that. Everything will be social distanced and everything will be outside for the day, and the food is also appropriately taken care of. So people can participate in any order that they choose.
This is a great idea. I love this.
Thank you.
Can't wait to participate in it.
Lindsay
And win that
Jonkine,
TV.
our marketing and communications director, came up with the idea, so we're really pleased
Kudos
with the
to
work
her.
she's done. Yeah.
Unbelievable. It's going to be a great day for people to see what is happening, because they drive by, they may not realize all that is happening. In fact, I received a call a couple weeks ago that person said there's nothing been going on for months at the banks, which is amazing. But they need to get out there firsthand and see all the development that'll be opening up in end of November. Mr. Kosher, any further discussion?
Just a quick question on, which I love this whole idea. If someone is, let's say they're just interested in maybe going to one site or 2 sites or 3 sites, do they still have to register, or can someone sort of pop in?
Yeah, you can pop in, if you don't want to be involved in the drawing, then sure, you can just show up at the event, we don't have any issue with that. But again, if you want to be involved in the drawing, and, you know, Mike Riley is in my office, is really pining for that TV, so we want to make sure somebody else wins that in the community, so.
That's a conflict of interest.
And Mayor, to your point about the call about the Banks development, you know, we've got some great eye doctors in town that I would maybe suggest that individual get their eyes checked.
Well, great idea. Mr. Kosher won't have to sign up because we all don't have kosher-type TVs in our house, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Andy Snyder, Fire Department.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just a couple of quick things. Vector Pipeline is on Vale Road, just by the toll road north of the city. They donated 4 multi-gas detectors to the department yesterday, so we're very appreciative to them for that. And we're moving forward, getting started on the traffic signal preemption project in town. NERC did approve the initial phase of that. It will include the Boston and East Lincoln Way intersection, as well as the Hines, Scotts, and East Lincoln Way intersection. We're meeting later today with the Sheriff's Office, Police Department, Chief Breton, and EMS to go over and possibly include those departments into that project too. So what that is, that'll give our emergency vehicles priority as they approach those intersections and allow them to go through unimpeded. So,
Discussion?
okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Chief
you.
Breton?
Morning. It's great sitting next to your son. We're talking about your.
There you go, that's good.
Just wanted to point out that we did offer employment to a new officer that's going through the testing right now, Taylor Atkinson. He's from Wanata, so been in Laporte County his whole life, 29 years old. We have 6 in FTO, and hopefully they'll be by the 4th of July released on their own. We have 1 currently in academy. Also, we had retirement of Corporal Ken Iliff on Saturday, and Victor Splix was promoted to corporal yesterday. And that's all I have. And
So-
I saw your disgust on the fitness. I just want to say that our officers are overworked and burned out. So once they get these guys trained, you'll see more participation.
And that's a perfect timing for the new guys on July 4th. We can introduce them to our parade.
That's right. Well, they'll be there anyway. And it's new officers, not guys.
New officers. Thank you, Chief. Discussion?
Does the new officer from Wanata, does he have to go through the academy?
Yes.
He does, okay.
We have a date set. It'll be August.
Okay.
That's great.
And we're taking applications now. We're gonna have another agility test in June for the next one.
Great,
So on paper, we're full staff, but you know how that goes.
right.
Well, good job. We're getting there. All right, Tom Casey, Planning.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Board. We're working on quite a few things, but I thought this would be an appropriate time to introduce our new assistant planner, David Heinhold, who just started last week. David grew up in Laporte, and David, if you want to stand up just so everybody can see you, is a graduate of Ball State, a certified planner, so it's going to be just a great asset to have him working on our team, and really wanted to take a moment to just introduce him to everybody.
That's awesome.
Secondly, we've got quite a few things, as I said before, that we're working on. Today, we've got the stage 4 of the county housing study, and what's involved in stage 4 of that housing study is Laporte-specific sites. So we'll be talking about 4 specific sites in Laporte that can be redeveloped for residential real estate. Those sites are Beechwood, as Bert had mentioned, which is part of his program. We've got a small site at 18th and A Street. We've got the old hospital site. And again, these are just potential pitch kits that we're putting together, showing what can be done on each site, the acreage of the site, the utilities to the site, just getting all the specs together and creating some kind of small brochure that we could use to pre-promote these sites to any potential developers. So that meeting is today. We've got the Historic Preservation Commission meets tonight. We're going to be touring the dye buildings at 5:40. Anybody's welcome to join that tour. We've got some pet people that might be joining as well. And the goal of that walkthrough is just to get their input on any adaptive reuse we can use for those historical buildings. They're both structures are from the 1914 era. And we do have a 5-page historical background with some photos on those structures. And then we've got UEA tomorrow, so pretty full week. A lot of other things that we're also working on at the same time, including working with engineering on a preliminary design plan for the Monroe Street parking lot, which should be very interesting and a great asset to the city when we get to the point of putting it in.
Well, and the one thing you haven't mentioned that I'm very excited about is we're making our downtown more walkable. You focused on Jefferson Avenue and Maple Avenue and the focus on home ownership versus rental and people living on those streets where we've had continual police issues and so forth. And we're working with the Healthcare Foundation, coming up with a plan how we can maybe get control of those properties and eventually convert to some type of home ownership and help people that need a little help. We're also going to be meeting with different banks as they want to use their CRE credits and help out the community for affordable housing. So there's a real opportunity here.
Yeah, and as a result of the meeting with the Healthcare Foundation, we are doing, and Mary Ann is doing a majority of the work, is we are doing a survey of all those properties in that area from Rose Street west to Tyler, between Jefferson and Monroe, and determining who are single-family homeowners in that area, how many rentals there are, who owns the rental homes, getting idea of what the inventory is like in that small area, because it is in the worst census tract in the county. So that's our first step, and we're in the process of completing that.
Discussion?
Tom, when is the
Mr. Casey,
tour?
I think I mentioned 3 locations for those potential development sites.
Yeah.
But I thought you said, were there 4 or 5?
Yeah, therefore, I apologize. I left out Tidma Bakery, which is probably the most important. That's the bakery building that was recently demolished, and we're doing a layout for that, which will consist of 4 single-family home sites on that parcel. So that is the 4th parcel. I apologize. I was kind of racing through it and forgot Tidma.
Oh, no worries. No, thank you for that.
Sure.
And when is the tour?
When is the tour tonight on the dye building is at 5:40, so we're meeting here at 5:30. Everybody's going to get together, and we're just going to walk over to the dye building, so right around 5:40. And again, the public is welcome to join us.
Thank you.
All right, thank you guys. Have a good one.
Nick Minnick, Engineering. And welcome, David. Good to have you back from South Dakota, right?
We have just one street left from our paving program last year that should be finished up on Thursday. We started a tree replacement at Newport Landing, so a lot of those trees were just not in good shape and had the opportunity to go through and replace a lot of those. So that started today. With that last street getting paved, we're looking at applying for community crossings in July. So we'll know a little bit more after that application goes in. Then also we'll have a federal aid paving program towards the end of the summer. So those programs will be kind of our paving for the year, unless we're able to carve out some other dollars to do a little bit more paving. And then we're going to start shifting our focus into ADA sidewalk programs, which we have some funds to do over the summer. So kind of the things you may see going on around town, in addition to NDOT's work on Lincoln Way, some other projects like that.
Yeah, Mr. Minnick, since there's a couple comments on Facebook here, dealing with sidewalks, there's a couple individuals complaining about their sidewalks have been in bad shape for a long time. Do you mind briefly explaining how owners could apply for the 50/50, or just what this, we have a limited budget, how do you figure out what sidewalks to attack?
Yeah, so the city entered into an agreed order as a result of a lawsuit in the early 2000s, and because of that, we're kind of limited on how we go out and fix sidewalks. So we have to focus on what the court determined as priority area 1, which is essentially complete, and then we move out to priority area 2. So we're working in priority area 2, and we try and do that as systematically as possible. If there's an immediate ADA need, there's a grievance procedure that then kind of moves that immediate ADA concern specifically to one location, kind of ahead of that overall process. But we really try and focus on that program kind of starting priority area 2, which kind of spirals out from downtown, and then 3 is beyond that. In addition to that, we're also using community crossings. Whenever we're paving roads, we're doing as many ramps and sidewalks as possible. Not that many sidewalks are always possible as part of that program just because of budget limitations on that program. And then we've also gotten support in the past from the UEA for sidewalks and CDBG for sidewalks. So we have a number of programs, and then also 50/50. So 50/50 sidewalk program. Our applications are in. We've taken that. We have all the measurements, and we'll be bidding that out shortly. So that program is closed until next year. But we run a lot of different sidewalk programs based on funds and availability of dollars, and we want to get to every sidewalk. We want to fix every ADA concern. We want to make sure all of our sidewalks are safe and passable, but we have to kind of do that systematically so that we're not just bouncing all over and kind of wasting dollars, so that we can get the most out of every dollar we do spend on sidewalks.
Well, the good news is, and Nick Minnick, Mike Fraze and I met last week, and there's a lot of things that Nick Minnick and our engineering department do that really should fall under roads. Mike Fraze is our roads expert. Nick has many other things that he needs to focus his time on. So we will be transitioning some of these demands from Nick, that has been done this way for years, and transferring them to Mike Fraze, who's ready for the challenge and excited. Because again, we need to improve our roads, we need to do things, and that's what Mike Fraze does every day, roads. So it makes sense to have him in charge of certain things that Nick is doing now, but could focus his time on other things. So we're excited about that.
Yeah, really excited, and I think you say roads, but also we're talking about sidewalks.
And sidewalks, yes.
So, a lot of communities, their street departments do build more sidewalks than ours does. So looking at how we can get the right resources to the street department to hopefully get more done. I mean, they can do it at a much lower cost than we can contract it out, but it's building that capacity and having that resource available that, we have to work on.
And then, Mr. Minnick, one other comment was about Surf Air, which we've talked about a little bit, but one person was complaining that there was some, I guess, damage from Surf Air. There's a mechanism for that person to contact, not necessarily Surf Air, but the company overseeing that project. Is that correct?
And Nick, I can answer that if you like.
Yep.
Maggie Dickerson is in charge of any complaints, and this person's name is?
I believe this is Jody Cahill.
Jody Cahill. You can call Maggie Dickerson at her work cell at 219-851-8223, and she is overseeing this project. And you can, Nick, if you can put that on the string or whatever they might call that.
What was that number again?
219-851-8223. Thank you, Nick. Tim Warner, Water.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, Board. The Water Department is, this week we started our second full week of
Everybody's stuck.
Mark Kosher, are you there? I can't tell.
I think they're all
Looks
stuck.
like it.
You want to come back to that?
Yes. Jess Bruder, if you don't mind sharing Friday Night Lights. And Mr. Otis, can we just have Mr. Kosher abstain or not?
Correct, yeah, you could, you don't have to do a roll call vote as long as he's not participating.
Jess Bruder, would you like to share with us regarding Friday Night Lights?
Friday Night Live, Mayor.
Friday Night Live.
Yeah, so, we are requesting to close down a section of Monroe and a section of State Street for our first ever Friday Night Live event. Monroe will be used for this. the Friday Night Lives are gonna be themed, so this first one on June 18th is a 50s cruise-in night. So we're partnering with the Westville Lions Club, and they're hosting the car show. So there will be classic cars, live music, a artisan market pop-up, as well as food vendors and a beer garden. So lots going on. The classic cars will be displayed on State Street, so we're closing that off. And then the artisans will be on Monroe. So there will be seating for eating, live music, all that good stuff.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion?
What's the time of the actual event, Jess?
6 to 10.
6 to 10.
Further
Down from 2 o'clock so that we have time to set up and also remove.
Clean
any
up and
cars
tear
from the
down.
area. Mhm.
Got it. Sounds awesome.
Further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Kosher?
Aye.
Ms. Romine?
Aye.
Mayor Dermody?
Aye. Roll call vote passes 3-0. And Jess, while we have you, let's just do St. Joseph Church to Sacred Heart Church.
That's not me.
Oh,
So, Mayor, this is not a request for use, this is just for information. They're going to be doing a procession from St. Joe Church to Sacred Heart Church on June 6th from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m., and they did request a police escort across a couple major roads, and they're working with Chief Breton to get that taken care of. So they're not closing any streets or blocking any ingress or egress, this is just for informational purposes.
thank you. So we don't need to vote on that then. Thank you very much. All right, let's return to department heads. Tim Warner, if you could continue.
Thank you, Mayor. The water department is starting their second full week of hydrant flushing this week. We're looking to be done, not next week, but halfway through the following week. Things have been going really well for us. I do just want to remind the public, we've gotten a few complaints about the safety lights being on at night. Those are on to protect our guys that are out in the street at night, and also to make the public aware that there could be water flowing in the area. So I know they're really bright. The 2 new trucks we have are all LED with LED strobes in the front and the back. I get it. I know they're bright and they flash in people's windows at night, but it's to keep our crew safe and the public safe. So I just want to remind the public that is the reason why those lights are on at night. Last week we met with Peerless Midwest and talked with the park department. We got our 2 new potential production well sites staked out in Soldier Memorial Park. We're very excited about that. Hoping to start, test drilling 2 6-inch test wells and check them for sustainability. Exciting news here at the water department. That's all I had this morning. If there's any questions about anything.
Hearing none, Mike Frey, Streets.
Yeah, we're gonna be cutting trees we're cutting trees this week, finish up on total patching, street sweeping, and stump grinding.
Mike, can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, also, total patch, obviously we made a big investment there and appreciate that you have a trainer flying in or driving in for Thursday to work with the crews on the street regarding total patch and the proper way to apply, correct?
Right. You let me know what time they'll be here.
And he'll be there all day working with the teams.
Right.
Great. Questions?
Real-
We're gonna,
No? Nice.
Mayor, no comments here, but I've seen them with various places complaining about the process for trimming trees, cutting trees, and for grinding trees. Mike, do you have different teams that stump grind versus cut down trees?
you're breaking up?
Do you have different teams at the department that handle stump grinding versus trimming trees?
They'll cut the trees down, next day do the stump grinding.
Okay, because sometimes people, I've seen complaints that, oh, the stump's been here for a week, a month, but we didn't get a stump grinder till pretty recently as well, correct?
Correct, and plus Sarah Nimitz is now in charge of all trees, cutting down trees. Street Department is just handling that process for Sarah until we have our own tree team, which hopefully will be by the end of this summer, that we'll begin that, because obviously we can't be pulling people off our roads, and as well with our community the way it is, they deserve to have a focused team that is strictly on trees. Further questions?
Is that going to be done in-house?
Correct. Yes. Beth West, Transport.
Morning. Our biannual, the paperwork is done, has been submitted to NERC. We should be doing our on-site review next week. The other big thing I want to make sure the public is aware, and we're going to remind them often, is that even though the mask mandates are starting to relax, it is still CDC requirement that you wear a mask when you're riding transport. That's for our passengers and our drivers. It goes until the end of September, or they deem it safe to not do this anymore, and that's on all transportation means, which is including transport also. We will continue to provide masks for our workers, but just know that if a driver asks you to put a mask on, that they're following CDC guidelines. The feds can come around and fine us hefty fines if just without masks on our buses. So we want to make sure that everybody stays in compliant until they give us the okay to stop.
And do we have set up, and maybe more for Jen Knoll, but discipline if someone's not wearing their mask, because they are hefty fines?
We're still going by guidance from HR. Our drivers have become very used to having to have masks on. What we'll have to do is if we have a passenger that gets irate, we will call the police department to have them come help us. And I've talked with Chief Breton, and he assures me that we will get whatever assistance that we need.
Further discussion? Jerry Jackson, wastewater.
Just a few things. We've got a pre-construction meeting with they so I'll have information in kind of how fast that project's gonna proceed. Plan to get information out after this meeting, get property owners in Monroe Manor that are in the project area. So I've got some terms is a problem. So I'll be very interested to see how HRP is going to be able to procure pipe that may potentially delay the job. I'm a bit worried. Selge is going away at Lakeside Street. The sewer relocate. They've got a little more than a third of the houses all hooked up as of last week, but all the preliminary work, getting pipe, force mains and connections to the houses is all done. All the electrical is all done. So it's now a matter of dropping in the grinder pumps and hooking them up. They hope to be done by early June. So that's just a few weeks here. Project should be finishing up. The last thing to be done will be eliminating the manholes out in the lake. That should be interesting to see. There's 3 of them there that are kind of difficult to get at, and we've had some discussion about the best way to get out and access those manholes. And they're still getting their final plan together. I think that's it.
And one thing that I had a meeting with Jerry Jackson and Tim Warner this past week where we talked about, obviously, we had a $100 million problem coming in of infrastructure issues. We have $29 million that'll be put into infrastructure over the next 4 to 5 years. And so we're now working on how do we set the next round from 2026 to 2030, who's ever in office, and have a plan to continue to break down and reduce that $100 million deficit and issue of our infrastructure. So I want to thank Jerry and Tim. They're focused and priority-wise to continue this process of fixing, repairing, updated our infrastructure. And I'm just going to add, as we talk about the difficult financial position, losing 25% of our revenue, we need an in-house full-time IT person for obvious reasons. And that's something we're going to have to discuss. We're going to have to look at citywide, because we do not have one full-time IT person for the entire city. And what's our annual budget? 50 for this, 30, 50 million, 30 million for the city?
Oh, annual, yeah.
What company is that size that doesn't have a single IT person in-house? So Board of Works members, keep that in mind as well. Mark Schreiber, Park Department.
Thank you, Mayor. Obviously, summer is at our doorstep, so there are dozens of highlighting, but just wanted to remind people that Foodie Tuesdays is returning this year. That'll be at Unity Park every Tuesday, beginning next week on May 25th. With
We need to know who that is that's having the food next week.
from 10:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. every Tuesday. We've some evenings, the first Tuesday of June, July, and August. From 4 to 7, we'll have Foodie Tuesday evenings, where we'll have food trucks out there as well. Also wanted to touch real quickly on our summer playground program. We weren't able to have this last year because of the pandemic and the concerns about COVID-19. So we're excited to bring that back. This is a free drop-in program. It's not child care, but it's activities provided that kids in these neighborhoods can come and enjoy. Takes place at Kumler Park, Allison Park, Scott Park, Ben Reese Park, and Rumley Park. We have all of the schedule for events on our calendar or on our Facebook page and on our website. And that program is completely underwritten by the Healthcare Foundation of Laporte. So we're just excited to be able to offer that free program once again to the kids of our community. Thank you.
And Mark, who was you cut out right at the Foodie Tuesday next week? Who will that be?
Modes Fresh Mediterranean.
Gotcha. Thank you. Further question, discussion, Mr. Kosher?
Yeah, well, I was just going to say thanks for sharing about that Park Department summer program. I'm a product of that program from the 70s. Yeah. 70s, maybe 80s. City Park, Charles Lindewald Park, and I have to say it certainly has changed, and it's not offered sort of 5 days a week, all day long as it was back then. But what a great program for kids such as myself, whose parents worked, and I got on my bike, I rode down to the park, I had stuff to do, and played football and volleyball and softball, and it was really fantastic. So really appreciate that program is out there and available for our residents.
Yeah, we felt it was important to bring that back. I think we're in our 5th or 6th year now of having the program return to the parks. And I'm Clark Park, so I was there all day, every day. So I played Mr. Kosher.
I can't remember what our record was against Clark, but I feel like we had
very good. Dominated. We recruited though, so.
Well, thank you. All right, so any department heads that do not have business before this board can go have a great day and good luck to you. I know Jen Knoll is working HR, so we'll move on to Chief Breton. Request approval for city auction.
You have before you the proposal. The only proposal we got back was from Listinsky Auctions. He sent it to Wayne Scott, and there was one other, I don't recall what it was. This is much needed to get rid of this. We have a mountain of bikes in our storage building, plus I know Tim Werner sending over a truck and a snow plow, and I haven't had much from, I think City Hall has some things too.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion?
I think generally, for the Board of Works members, this is usually an annual
Right.
thing, but I don't think we had it last year because of COVID. Is
I believe, yeah, last year, and it may have been the year before, maybe 2 years.
Yeah.
Further discussion?
Sorry, Mayor, but is this something that, we've got the bike group here in Laporte that's working with the Parks Department? How many bikes are we talking about here?
There's probably close to 100
Yeah.
right now.
There was 75 on May 7th, so.
That was his rough estimate. They're piled up. He didn't go out and count every one. We won't count them until we pull them out of there.
Great.
'Cause we had old squad cars in there and about everything jammed in there till we start moving things around.
I'm sorry, did I have a motion?
You
And a
did.
second?
You already do.
Further discussion?
He's mostly bike stolen and then recovered, but not, the prior owners did not pick them up, or how do we come about all these bikes?
Yeah, they're usually abandoned, and then we store them for so long. I believe it's 90 days before he puts them into where they'd be released or whatever, or auction bound. Several of the owners, people do show up, and if they can prove this is their bike, we give them their bike, and we have reports on all the bikes. There are incident reports on them. So Chuck Games will, actually, our maintenance guy will be there during this auction. I'm out of town for a wedding, so he will take care of that, but he'll be there to, if anybody claims it's a bike, he'll take care of that. He'll investigate it and see if there's a report done on it.
It's a lot of work for bikes.
Further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Kosher?
Aye.
Ms. Romine?
Aye.
Mayor Dermody?
Aye, motion passes 3-0.
Okay, thank you.
Jen Knoll? And this is an example with our Human Resources Director of 200 people, having to do IT. And that's, I know the city, the community always wants us to be a low-tax government entity, but at what point does it cost us more than we're saving? Because we have people that, I appreciate all of Jen Knoll's efforts regarding IT, but she has a full-time job to do as human resources, and she's been kind enough to do IT as well. So this is a
Point out too, you
example.
saw the county got hacked a couple of years
Yes.
ago. And they paid out of their own coffers a significant amount of money, more than the salary probably of an IT person. Jen does a good job. We have great insurance coverage, but one hacking, can cost more than that. And we saw that with oil prices last week when they got hacked. So, Jen is great at HR. I didn't know she was an IT expert until I started working.
But we appreciate the effort that you're doing, so please take that. And I
would
think you'd
just
be
say
ready to
it's
give
an
up that
effort.
duty. You would like to give up that duty if
Yeah, I would.
possible.
So just to update you guys, if the Zoom video kind of goes in and out, we've got an unstable Wi-Fi connection here. We have so many devices connected to the Wi-Fi here in council chambers. So we're looking for a line that we can plug in directly that would hopefully help. But at this point, I can't find a line that's long enough. So hopefully by the next meeting, we'll get that fixed. The first item that I have is a seasonal tree crew job description. So I think previously you had mentioned the grant that we received through Healthcare Foundation. And so these are positions that we would be filling under Sarah Nimitz for the seasonal tree crew that she needs and that she would oversee. So just looking for your approval for this job description and then also to post the job as well.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? All in favor? Roll call, please.
Mr. Kosher?
Aye.
Ms. Romine?
Aye.
Mayor Dermody?
Aye. Motion passes 3-0.
Next, we have the Teledoc behavioral health piece that we would like to add to our health plan, our medical plan. So right now, we have Teledoc for medical services where you can phone or video call, conference a physician. This would be allowing individuals to contact a therapist. And you can do all of that the same way you would do any other Teledoc service, so via phone or via something similar to Zoom. This is 30 cents per employee per month, so it's not a huge cost, but we do think that the benefit is very rich, that we would like to add that to offer to our employees.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion?
This is brand new. We didn't have this in the past, is what you're saying, correct?
Correct.
The
not
amendment.
The behavioral health piece.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Further discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Kosher?
Mr. Kosher?
Aye.
Ms. Romine?
Aye.
Mayor Dermody?
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jerry Jackson, Lakeside Sewer Relocation Pay Request.
This is pay request number 4. Get up in front of me here. In the amount of $147,434.99. That takes us to 52% of the job. As I mentioned earlier, we're about 33% as far as houses being complete. All the low pressure sewers are in and all the electrical work is complete. We're at 3.3% over the bid amount due to change orders, which I think isn't too bad considering the nature of this job, where we're in yards and we're dealing with private sewers and it's a difficult job. So I think we're doing okay. Selge is working well with the customers, keeping them responding to issues that arise as the job proceeds. So I'd recommend payment of application number, pay request number 4, the $147,434.99.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? All in favor, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Kosher?
Aye.
Ms. Romine?
Aye.
Mayor Dermody?
Aye. Roll call vote passes 3-0. Hauler discharge permit.
We got an application for a new septic hauler. It's Dog Tag Septic. They operate out of Laporte County here, Laporte. Brand new company. Septic has been for the department. I'd recommend approval of their discharge permit.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Were you all able to hear that?
No.
Or Jerry, if you could repeat that, I apologize.
No problem. It's Dog Tag Septic. They're located just south of Laporte. There are I don't know, 5 or 6 of them that discharge to the sewage plant, and it's been a good source of income for the department. I'd recommend we approve their permit, their application.
Questions? I want to make sure our board has questions answered.
Jerry, just if you could explain to them, like, so they're a septic, they pump septics and then they bring it to your facility, and the reason they need the permit is to confirm that what they're putting into our facility complies with state and federal law. Is that fair to say?
Exactly right. We kind of spell out the conditions that they need a state permit to discharge here. We spell out, where the discharge point is, the hours of operation, what we will and won't receive. The permit is aimed toward protecting the wastewater treatment plant from someone hauling in something of questionable, that would give the treatment plant a problem. So it's the permit for protecting the city.
Further discussion? Hearing none?
Yeah,
Roll-
sorry. We certainly have other haulers that bring in
Mr. Kosher?
with them being allowed to come in. Are you able to, like, if someone wants to bring in, let's say they all want to come at once, are you able to schedule this to like work with the capacity? I'm just thinking through, there could ever be an issue with this, or I imagine it's something we've already worked out, right?
We haven't had that sort of issue. There just isn't that sort of volume coming in. And the treatment plants, we have a large treatment plant, so we haven't had that issue. There's a lot of, just as a matter of course in Septic, there's a lot of rocks, trash, and we've had some issues with it plugging our screen and our main sewers, and it's not free of any issues. But we've got, with the improvements, we've got better new screen.
We have to correct this issue.
Yeah, I agree. So, Mr. Kosher, were you able to get your question answered? Okay, we're going to hold on a vote there, or we have not voted there, so can we hold that? We don't have to withdraw it, Nick?
You're gonna wait till Mark comes
Till we
back?
come, well, we'll move on and then.
Yep.
So
Why don't you
withdraw.
just make a motion to table?
So do I have
We
a
have
motion?
We have a motion on the floor to approve.
Why don't we just do it between the mayor and I?
Well, the motion was made by Mr. Kosher.
Yeah, we have a
Oh.
motion, so,
I think
We will
they
t-
can still hear us. We're just,
Mark, can you hear us?
He can't vote though unless you can see
you
him.
can, let
So-
me, hold on, I'll switch the audio to the computer. Sorry, guys, we can't hear you right now, but give me 1 second.
I could make a motion to table it and we can move on, or no?
Yeah, I think she can. We'll just bring it back if Mark comes back on. I think that's.
So do you have a motion then?
I'll make a motion to table the permit for dog tag septic services.
And I will second that. All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0. Let's go ahead and move to Mary Ann Richards' approval of CDBG contract for general repairs.
Good morning.
Good morning.
On the agenda, I made an error when I sent the information to Annette. The address for the general repairs is actually at 1503 Lincoln Way and not 913 Ridge Street.
It's correct on the agenda.
It is.
Okay, I have a contract. It's standard boilerplate contract that I've been using for 15 years between Langley Construction and the city for general repairs at 1503 East Lincoln Way in the amount of $6,200. And I'm asking for your approval. You awarded the contract at the last Board of Works meeting, and this is just approval of the contract. And then the formal execution of the contract.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I will second that. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Oh, he's
Motion passes 2-0.
Yeah, it's still gotta be 2-0 till we can see it.
Mr. Kosher, we cannot see you, so until you do, we will not include your vote. Thank you. Nick Minnick?
West.
Let's do Beth first.
Beth West. Oh, she's not here.
She's on.
I apologize.
So Nick Minnick, 18th Street Greenway.
May I interrupt for just a second? Mr. Otis, does this constitute being able to see?
Yes.
And so Mr. Kosher can now vote?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Can you hear us, Mark?
Yes, I can hear everything and see everything clearly. Can
Okay.
you hear me now?
Yes. So why don't we, before you take Nick Minnick, if you want to take the.
Dog tag?
Yep.
So we have a motion that was tabled, so.
Need a motion to take it off the table.
I'll make a motion to take off the table the dog tag septic service permit.
I will second that.
So it's back on the table. There's
we
already
have to
been
vote for it.
There's been a motion and a second, correct, Joni?
Let's vote for this first.
Vote for that. So I
Yep.
have a motion and a second. For the two of us, all in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0. So that's been taken off the table.
It's on the table now.
It's on the
I mean,
table
It's on
now.
the table.
We already have a motion, right? We can use that motion.
We already have a motion by
Yes.
Mr. Kosher. So, Mr. Kosher, we can see you, so you can vote on this. Approval of the dog tag,
Septic.
Septic
Septic.
service permit.
which I do have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
Roll call vote.
Oh, I'm sorry, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Kosher? Aye. Ms. Romine?
Aye.
Mayor Dermody?
Aye, motion passes 3-0. Now let's move to Nick Minnick while you're standing here, so Beth, hold tight. Nick, go ahead.
We have, first on the list is the 18th Street Greenway Award. We opened bids on Friday. We had 3 bids. We had separated it into 2 divisions, but we, in order to possibly get better pricing, the better pricing will be, and the better project will be to award to one. And that would be Reith Riley Construction in the amount of $480,372.46. I would recommend approval of that, and then we'll get them moving on the 18th Street Greenway.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I have a motion and a second discussion. The other 2 bidders were,
Milestone, the former Walsh and Kelly, and then Pavey Excavating bid on just the sidewalk division.
So
And-
what all is this?
So this is what we call the 18th Street Greenway, which is a project that extends sidewalks from essentially Southmore or Fox. That's where kind of our sidewalks end, up Kingsbury Ave, and then from Kingsbury Ave along 18th Street, like I said, from Kingsbury all the way to A Street, and then on to I Street. So kind of that whole section, and that'll be a kind of a multi-use side path that allows for people to access both the Kessling campus and Kessling Park.
It's awesome.
and will we have somebody managing that project on site to make sure they're doing, or are we contracting with somebody representing the city?
Yeah, so we actually were about 25,000 under budget, so we will look at probably bringing somebody on just because I've my technician on in Monroe Manor this summer, so it'd probably be nice to have some help. So I'll probably bring that contract to the board the next meeting, and we'll just have part-time construction oversight in between, my department and having somebody part-time. I think we should have somebody there pretty much.
And there are specs for that to make sure
Yeah.
that they have to meet width, thickness.
Yep.
That's important.
Yep.
And again, it's no different than what we're requiring our street department with and starting to get the standards that we want to address. We have difficulty, we mentioned to Representative Pressel last night, freeze-thaw stability issues from the winter to the summer to the, we have more difficult issues than many counties, cities in our state. And so we want to make sure that every spec is being met. So you've been on that and I appreciate it. And I'm sure Mr. Frankie appreciates that you're going to be on the spec there.
Yeah, I think since we talked about roads a little bit earlier, it's kind of important to mention this project we were going to use federal dollars for this project as part of one of our ADA programs. But thanks to the Healthcare Foundation, we applied and they gave us the funds to do this. So this was originally going to be a complementary project with paving of 18th Street. But because federal process made it very difficult to put a trail through a park, which seems odd, but it becomes very difficult. We were able to kind of shift funds around, and now those ADA funds can be used on other projects, and we get a complete project. And it really, thanks again to the Healthcare Foundation for funding this, so that so 18th Street can be really complete, having access for all users along that route, which is very, very important with the traffic situation we have at 18th and A, the congestion, the more students we can get walking or on their bikes, just that every student that's walking or on their bikes is, one less car that's trying to get to that school, so.
What's the timeline?
So we'll start probably within the next month. I think we gave them up to 45 days to get started.
So that, I'm personally interested, just like Mr. Frankie, but that'll go along the Green Acres side of Kingsbury, is that correct?
Yes. Yep.
And then cross the street at 18th and be on the...
Yeah, so the sidewalks are currently on the west side of Kingsbury as you go further north. So it'll stay on the west side of Kingsbury, and then it'll be on the south side of 18th Street the whole way.
And it's just, to know that kids are walking on the street to Kessling for years. We've been very fortunate to not have an issue, accident, and so forth. So great job, and it'll be ready again
End of the summer.
by August.
Hopefully midsummer.
By the school year, the
For the
new
school
school
year,
year.
for sure,
That's
yes.
amazing.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
That's great work, so we're excited. I do have a motion and a second. Further discussion? I'm going to ask, does Mr. Kosher need to abstain, or I don't think so because this is going by the school system? All right, may roll call vote, please?
Mr. Kosher?
Mr. Rodas, did you recommend I abstain?
No, you're good to vote, Mr. Kosher. It'll generally benefit the school, but just as much as anybody else, so you're fine.
All right, my vote is aye.
Ms. Romine?
Aye.
Mayor Dermody?
Aye, motion passes 3-0. Arbor Master contract for Urban Canopy Grant Project.
Again, thank you so much to the Healthcare Foundation. We were able to obtain a grant to try and start building capacity within the city to better manage our tree canopy. Having Sarah Nimitz on staff now and her being able to really spearhead this effort, and then Healthcare Foundation's funding, we're looking at having a training for a number of employees that would be involved in tree care and tree maintenance, kind of spanning different departments, trying to, like I said, build capacity and kind of work integrated together. This is a 2-day training, again, Healthcare Foundation funded. The cost is $6,120 for Arbor Master to come in and hold that training for the individuals that will be involved in tree care and tree maintenance throughout the city.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I have a motion and a second discussion, and I just want to say, again, as you've talked about the tree canopy and what our community looks like in the future as we compete for those best students to bring them back home and offer to our residents a great place to be and live and work. This is an important part, so I'm excited about this. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state by roll call, please.
Mr. Kosher?
Aye.
Ms. Romine?
Aye.
Mayor Dermody?
Aye, motion passes 3-0. Change order.
So the last item we had is Board of Works, because this is being tied to our overall long-term monitoring program for both landfill and Newport Landing. Approved a contract last year to do soil gas sampling, and this is kind of in the location of Truesdell and Pine Lake Ave. Item wanted 2 rounds. We did the first round, so this change order is actually for the second round of the soil gas sampling in that vicinity. Cost is $7,500. That comes out of the landfill and Newport Landing monitoring line item. So I would recommend approval.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second discussion. And again, just clarify in simple form what we're doing here.
Or simple form. We're sampling soil gas. So soil gas is the vapors that would be kind of trapped inside the soil. And we're doing this at the intersection of Truesdell and Pine Lake Ave. There is kind of some historic industrial activities on the former Ellis Chalmers side of the street, but there's also gas station and different things historically throughout that intersection. So we need to do some ongoing monitoring in order to make sure that levels are at a point where IDEM is comfortable letting us move forward and close out the site. So this is one round of something that will end up being kind of a longer process, but it's important for us to make sure we're doing everything properly and getting all the data as we work with IDEM in that vicinity.
And again, I'm sorry, go ahead, Jess.
I was just going to ask, is this likely to lead to more environmental remediation cleanup, or this is a monitoring
It's a
process?
monitoring.
So how many phases or rounds could there be of this soil sampling?
So we haven't finalized kind of the program with IDEM yet. So I believe we were gonna recommend 8 quarters to 2 years of monitoring, and that was something that they had recommended. And again, it won't just be for this location, but this location, since we started it in the fall, we wanted to make sure we got it before, we started at the end of the summer last year. We wanted to make sure we got it before summer this year, just in case there was any variation based on seasonal, groundwater levels or anything like that. So this is just a little snippet of what we will be doing in the future.
And I'd also like to say, I've seen pictures of the leftover Alice Chalmers property with the building and seeing firsthand removing 83,000 tons of contaminated material. And this was well before Tom Dermody being mayor. The work, the effort, the concern that this team has had about the health and safety and wellness of our community, of not leaving all this material in the ground for your children, and our future, and monitoring and going on and on and on to make sure IDEM and the state and EPA at the federal level and at the local level through our team to make sure that this is a viable property, number one, to do something with, but more importantly, that our community is safe. Because it isn't safe if we would have ignored it, turned our back on it, and left it sitting out there. To think that everything that was in the ground was just going to stay in the ground and not affect anybody is an amazing statement. And you cleaned it up. You helped lead the charge with many involved. So I just want to say this is just a continued process to turn a project that was ugly and unhealthy to a positive that people in our community are going to remember, thanks to people like you.
Yeah, I appreciate that, but it's a lot of people involved. It's a long process, and we're not done yet, but we keep kind of chipping away at making sure that individual sites are ready for redevelopment. That means a lot of different things when it comes to IDEM and IDEM regulations, and when we talk about closure is a regulatory process. We're dealing with an urban area, and urban areas have histories. So even greenfield sites, so outside the city, those have histories too, whether they be pesticides or herbicides that are still in the soil, or it doesn't really matter. Anywhere that's been touched by human hands has a history that we have to manage moving forward. This site has a little bit more of a history than some, but at the same time, it's right at the center of our city and such an important component of our future, being between lakes and being on the north side of our downtown, and just really an important site for us to make sure we get right, and we're protecting human health and the environment to the best of our ability.
And the amazing part of this started, and I believe I'm correct in saying Mayor Gonzalez.
How far back is that?
That's 19.
In the 90s.
But it could have actually been before that.
Could have been Mayor Smith.
Yeah.
But the glue will tell.
Oh,
Mayor
Mayor
Gonzalez, Mayor Kroback, Mayor Morris, Mayor Milo. And again, you can close the book on our future in our community if we hadn't addressed this. If you and those previous mayors in their leadership on this to say, hey, we have to do something, and you would have closed the book on our future, we would have had no chance on the cleanup. So thanks to all of them and you and everybody. So
Took just a short 100 years to build up the mess, and 30 years later, we're getting closer to the finish line. I shouldn't say we're nearing it, but we're getting closer.
So I do have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Kosher? Aye. Ms. Romine?
Aye.
Mayor Dermody?
Aye. Roll call vote passes 3-0. Thank you. Beth West, approval for 3 new buses.
Thank you. You should receive the bid request for buses. We did these all through NERC. They're leased vehicles through NERC, so basically I'm just needing your approval to move forward with it. It will be replacing 3 of our older buses. We're hoping to have these buses by the end of the year, beginning of next year, because they are built from the ground up. 3 of them, one of them is actually being paid by 100% out of CARES Act money. We still had some CARES Act money left over, so it will be paying for 1 bus in full. The second bus, it's kind of a split. We have an open grant for 2 buses, so it's going to be split by the remainder of the CARES Act money and the grant money that was already established. The grant money and then the third bus that will be paid out of the grant, those are 80-20 grants. So 80% of it will be paid with federal money, 20% will be paid by money that we've been creating a nest egg with, and that equals about $27,000, which is in our funds that we can provide that money for. I just need approval basically to move forward with this.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion. Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Kosher?
Aye.
Ms. Romine?
Aye.
Mayor Dermody?
Aye. Motion, roll call vote passes 3-0. Unfinished business, other business. Again, my apologies on the internet, on our streaming portion of this. We are open to the public for those that would like to watch our meetings, hear those. We will also have it available on the school channel, Laporte School Channel. Stream was good, or the internet version. We will get this resolved by the next meeting. Number 2, vaccinations. We have outperformed the state of Indiana on the amount of vaccinations for the people in our community. And now that 12 through 18 ages are available, we have partnered with Walgreens. This coming Thursday from 3 to 7 at the Civic Auditorium, kids, you can pre-register, and with their parents' approval, consent, they will be able to come either pre-approved or walk up and receive a Pfizer shot for that age group. We're going to have Domino's there, home run dogs, and every young adult that is vaccinated will receive a ticket to get a hot dog, get a piece of pizza afterwards. We're hoping to have some music and a little bit of fun there. But from 3 to 7 this Thursday, outdoors, will be the event and the food in front of the Civic, and then we'll be using the hallway of the indoor portion of the Civic for people to be vaccinated. So don't miss out. We're calling it Our Shot Slicers, and let's get those kids vaccinated as we continue Operation Vaccinate Laporte.
Do they need some kind of proof of their age or ID?
They'll need that with the parents, either when they pre-register or can bring it on site. This has happened quick, but Walgreens has 100 to 150 vaccinations available, and thanks to Annette Leffler for making this happen and putting it together, because it was very quick as of late Friday, and we're already at Tuesday trying to finalize, but should have a flyer out by end of today. So we're moving
Children
quick.
need their parents' consent too, correct?
Correct. Yeah, they'll need
There's
their
probably some
consent,
kind of waivers to be signed off on.
pre-registered, and we will be there. So with that, any other further business? Other business?
Mayor, I would just comment that, I know you mentioned the tech issues we've had, and I can kind of see that there's nothing up on the screen there, but just being someone who's been watching the feed the whole time, like the feed has been, I'd say 99% good. So just obviously an issue with kind of picking, like, for example, my video up. But I think if someone were on, I believe they'd be able to see everything and hear everything very, very well.
Okay.
Great. We still have some improvements to make. So with that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. We are adjourned, and thank you for your time. Have a great day, everybody.
Mr. Kosher?
I
Ms.
almost
Romine?
hit the leave button.
Aye.
Mayor
Aye.
Dermody?
Aye, we are adjourned. Thank you.